some by doing the task. Most of us learn from some combination of all these methods. And all people have different levels of aptitude and different personalities and life experiences that may motivate them to learn or demotivate them. A highly motivated student can learn from difficult reading materials, where a poorly motivated student needs accessible materials such as video to learn. New software is helping students learn regardless of learning style or pace. Software can present information on multiple forms that can be personalized far more easily than paper methods. In teaching geography to 12 and 13-year-olds, for instance, Highdown School previously relied on videos of Mount St. Helens and a large stack of printed materials. Some kids did well with these resources. Others, less motivated, got bogged down in the dense text. With web technology, the school now structures a series of learning tasks according to complexity. Students are required to complete a certain amount of work to ensure they understand the concept. The first geology task incorporates multimedia animation of moving magma to help every student understand the basics of volcano formation. The most advanced task is an in-depth survey of volcanoes that includes links to the U.S. Geologic Survey website. Students who want to explore further, and many do, can drill into great detail on a number of active volcanoes and their effect on nearby towns and the world's environment. PCs can help change the learning experience from the traditional approach, a teacher talking at the front of the classroom coupled with reading assignments, to a more hands-on approach that takes advantage of the natural curiosity of students of all ages. PCs enable students to explore information at their own pace, to learn from video and audio as well as from text, to model experiments, and to collaborate with one another. This self-directed problem-solving approach, usually described as progressive, is not new. John Dewey and other educational reformers were proposing a change from didactic to experiential learning in 1899. But where building a physical facility to give kids a wide range of experience is complex, a virtual world of experiences on computers is available to all connected students. Web connectivity builds on the PC's capabilities by enabling students to find other people who are exploring the same topics, or to find approaches to a subject that might be more helpful or interesting to them than the approach used in class. They may find a nugget of information that they enjoy bringing back to the class, or one that confused them and that the teacher can address for the benefit of everybody. A common assignment will be for students to go out and explore a topic on the Internet, then come back together in a group to discuss what they learned. The great lectures on all important subjects will become widely available on the Internet. Schools will be able to use them as the core presentations, creating study groups and discussion groups around the topics. Schools will vary in how much they take advantage of these lectures. Local teachers will be freed to develop more in-depth material and personalized instruction, rather than duplicating the core lectures as they have to do today. Once we have a critical mass of teachers sharing ideas electronically and a higher and higher percentage of the students with access to the PC, the textbook industry will make a fundamental shift to focus on electronic delivery of products. Having textbooks available electronically at lower cost will enable cash-strapped schools to redirect money spent on printed textbooks for other needs. In 1997, elementary schools in the United States spent $3 billion on physical books. College spending was another $2.7 billion. Yet a typical CD can hold all of the reading materials a student needs in a year, with online connections providing the additional breadth and depth. Use of PCs as a primary reading tool will require the breakthrough in screen readability described earlier. PCs are the primary communications and productivity tools of the digital age. The PC and the Internet fundamentally change one thing. They provide every student in every school and community with access to information and collaboration that before now was not available even to students in the best schools. Educators will take advantage of that access for the betterment of their communities. Educators who embrace PCs as a new teaching and learning tool will be the agents of change. Part 6. Expect the unexpected. Prepare for the digital future. Customers are the primary beneficiaries of the increased efficiency of information technology, and the benefits will increase as the economy goes more digital. The other beneficiaries are businesses whose leaders take advantage of digital methods and build advanced solutions faster than the competition. The solutions highlighted in this program are the result of the vision and leadership of business people who brought IT into play with specific customer scenarios in mind. Because technology will change the way you work with customers and not involve just back-office data processing, the CEO should be more engaged going forward. Business leaders who succeed will take advantage of a new way of doing business, a way based on the increasing velocity of information. The new way is not to apply technology for its own sake, but to use it to reshape how companies act. To get the full benefit of technology, business leaders will streamline and modernize their processes and their organization. The goal is to make business reflex nearly instantaneous and to make strategic thought an ongoing iterative process, not something done every 12 to 18 months, separate from the daily flow of business. Investments in technology should provide better information to every worker who might possibly use it. Knowledge workers are the brains of the company. If they're disconnected from the company's important data, how can they function? How can they be empowered? You can give people responsibility and authority, but without information, they're helpless. Knowledge is the ultimate power tool. If information about production systems, product problems, customer crises and opportunities, sales shortfalls, and other important business news gets through the organization in a matter of minutes instead of days, and if the right people can be working on the issues within hours instead of days, a business obtains a huge advantage. This restructuring of processes is more fundamental than any other change since mass production. Every company can choose whether to lead or follow the emerging digital trends. The companies in this program have decided to be leaders. They're all in tough industries, fighting tough competitors. The Internet is redefining their industries in real time. Winning is no slam dunk for any of them. They've decided that digital information flow and empowering their employees is part of achieving and sustaining competitive advantage.
Business has always had one purpose, and that is to deliver great products and services to customers. And the Internet will allow business to do its job even better. The intensity of competition will be greater than before. The velocity at which business will improve things or a new competitor will show up will be much greater than ever in the past. And a lot of the things that have held back competition, the difficulty of physical distribution or building a set of stores, that kind of thing will no longer be as limiting as they have in the past. And business people have a chance to adjust to this new world, and some will come out as winners because they've adopted in a way that others have not.
Though the term may sound cold, digital processes is about the empowerment of individuals. Getting people motivated to take on responsibility is not a question of organizational structure so much as organizational attitude. Though we try to keep the number of organizational levels down and the lines of communication short, Microsoft has a fairly traditional organizational chart. I think an open-door policy is more critical than a non-hierarchical structure. Digital tools are the best way to open the door and add flexibility. Depending on the need or urgency, information can move through the chain of command or right to the top, to a single individual or to a team, to anyone in a certain location or to everyone around the world. A belief in empowerment is key to getting the most out of a digital nervous system. It's knowledge workers and business managers who benefit from more and better information, not just senior management. When employees get a couple of good tools that deliver better results, they demand more. It's another positive cycle. However you organize your company or motivate your staff, one thing is clear. It is impossible to manage a company totally from the center. It is impossible for a single person or single committee to stay on top of every issue in every business unit or subsidiary. Leaders need to provide strategy and direction, and to give employees tools that enable them to gather information and insight from around the world. Leaders shouldn't try to make every decision. Companies that try to manage down, to direct every action from the center, will simply not be able to move fast enough to deal with the tempo of the new economy. In business, the argument between central authority and the individual is the difference between the old-style Theory X mentality, that workers are lazy and need to be driven, and Theory Y, that workers are creative and should be given responsibility. Digital processes support the assumption that workers can and will do more if allowed, enabled, and encouraged to think and act. This center versus individual argument is not an abstraction. The choice affects the design of companies and systems. The mock-up of the first U.S. manned space capsule shocked the original astronauts years ago. There were no manual guidance systems. Not to worry, the NASA scientists explained, the system would fly the spacecraft. The U.S. astronauts, like the monkeys before them, were just along for the ride. The astronauts balked. Veteran combat and test pilots, they knew all too well that advanced aviation systems often failed under adverse conditions. The pilots won the showdown, getting the controls and periscope needed to fly these craft manually. On several flights, including orbital missions and the first landing on the moon, it was the local system and the pilot's skill that brought the astronauts home safely when the centrally run, pre-programmed system failed. The issue is not whether the primitive computer systems of the day could outfly human pilots. Today, high-performance aircraft and spacecraft use computer technology extensively to extend the human ability to fly in extreme environments. The issue is whether someone at the center and removed from the real circumstances can possibly predict all of the things that can change or go haywire, whether in space or in a business office. Empowerment of employees on the line requires smart machines at their fingertips. A system built on the concept of central versus personal computing is insufficient for a widespread and mobile workforce. Such a system also represents a hostile view of the worker. It says that employees are still industrial-age cogs, that they should be doing repetitive single-task jobs. It says that workers should not step outside the box to do their job. The tool, in fact, will prevent them from stepping outside the box. Having tools to manage a decentralized system is a good thing, but a mindset to predefine the actions of knowledge workers from the center is counterproductive. Digital tools should stimulate the creativity and productivity of employees. Whatever initial guidance senior management provides, knowledge workers need tools to explore, to collaborate, and to make mid-course corrections as business changes in real time. Digitally empowered employees will enable a few companies in each industry to break away from the pack. So many parts of business can be improved through digital systems that it will take a number of years to maximize every single part. Every bit of data in a company should be in digital form and easily retrieved. This data will include every file, every record, every piece of email, every web page. Every internal process should be digital and integrated with every other. A unified view of each customer, for instance, should record every business process related to that customer. Every transaction with partners and customers should be digital. You should give access to customers and partners to every bit of data that is appropriate to them, and vice versa. Previous economic eras were marked by long periods of stability, followed by short periods of industry-wrenching change. Evolutionists would call this phenomenon punctuated equilibrium. Today, the forces of digital information are creating a business environment of constant change. Evolutionists would call this punctuated chaos, constant upheaval marked by brief respites. The pace of change is sometimes unsettling. The Asian financial crisis of 1998 is an example of how digital information flow is changing the world. A generation ago, a boom or collapse in any financial market, stock markets, currency markets, would have taken weeks or months to spread worldwide. Today, the participants in these markets are all digitally connected. Any downturn or upturn in a major market creates overnight reverberations in other markets. Businesses have to react quickly to currency changes, new credit risks, and new valuations. Business decisions have to move at the pace of electronic markets. Some companies have been very nimble in responding to these changes, and some have just watched. When it's all said and done, the companies that moved swiftly, for instance to buy carefully chosen assets while prices were down, will be the ones that come out best. They had to move fast, not only to adjust their business, but also to seize the new opportunities. Similar digital interconnections will soon exist for all markets. The digital world is both forcing companies to react to change and giving them the tools by which to stay ahead of it. Information technology is the only way to have sufficiently quick reflexes connecting business strategy and organizational response. Today, U.S. businesses are ahead of businesses in other countries in the adoption of digital technologies. The many reasons include an openness to risk-taking, individual empowerment, and labor mobility. Lower-cost communications and a large uniform market also help. It's always possible to catch up, so American companies don't necessarily have a permanent lead. Each country needs to study the best practices elsewhere in the world. Many of the business leaders I meet outside the United States know they need to adopt a digital approach. In some cases, they're held back by the lack of high-speed connections in their country. In some cases, they're held back because of a lack of college students' exposure to digital technology in their educational system. They aren't getting a new crop of web-savvy employees each year. In some cases, they're held back because partners and customers aren't ready to join up digitally. Investments in digital infrastructure and education are key to each country's future competitive position. The areas the United States is behind on include government use of the Internet, government policies on encryption, and adoption of smart cards. Human beings are not the biggest animals. We're not the strongest or fastest. We're not the sharpest in sight or smell. It's amazing how we survived against the many fierce creatures of nature. We survived and prospered because of our brains. We evolved to fill the cognitive niche. We learned how to use tools, to build shelter, to invent agriculture, to domesticate livestock, to develop civilization and culture, to cure and prevent disease. Our tools and technologies have helped us to shape the environment around us. I'm an optimist. I believe in progress. I'd much rather be alive today than at any time in history, and not just because in an earlier age my skill set wouldn't have been as valuable and I'd have been a prime candidate for some beast's dinner. The tools of the industrial age extended the capabilities of our muscles. The tools of the digital age extend the capabilities of our minds. I'm even happier for my daughter, who will come of age in this new world. By embracing the digital age, we can accelerate the positive effects and mitigate the challenges such as privacy and have versus have not. If we sit back and wait for the digital age to come to us on terms defined by others, we won't be able to do either. The web lifestyle can increase citizen involvement in government. Many of the decisions to be made are political and social, not technical. These include how we ensure access for everyone and how we protect children. Citizens in every culture must engage on the social and political impact of digital technology, to ensure that the new digital age reflects the society they want to create. If we are reactive and let change overwhelm us or pass us by, we will perceive change negatively. If we are proactive, seek to understand the future now, and embrace change, the idea of the unexpected can be positive and uplifting. Astronomer Carl Sagan, in his last book, Billions and Billions, said, "The prediction I can make with the highest confidence is that the most amazing discoveries will be the ones we are not today wise enough to foresee." As tough and uncertain as the digital world makes it for business, it's evolve rapidly or die, we will all benefit. We're going to get improved products and services, more responsiveness to complaints, lower costs, and more choices. We're going to get better government and social services at substantially less expense. This world is coming. A big part of it comes through businesses using a digital nervous system to radically improve their processes. A digital nervous system can help business redefine itself and its role in the future. But energy or paralysis, success or failure, depends on business leaders. Only you can prepare your organization and make the investments necessary to capitalize on the rapidly dawning digital age. Digital tools magnify the abilities that make us unique in the world. The ability to think, the ability to articulate our thoughts, the ability to work together to act on those thoughts. I strongly believe that if companies empower their employees to solve problems and give them potent tools to do this with, they will always be amazed at how much creativity and initiative will blossom forth. This has been a Time Warner Audiobooks presentation of Business at the Speed of Thought, written by Bill Gates with Collins Hemingway, read by Roger Steffens, and featuring commentary by Bill Gates. Produced and directed by Maya Thomas. Text abridged by John Whitman. Production coordinated by Daniel Metcalf. Tape edited, mixed, and mastered by Data Sound. Business at the Speed of Thought, using a digital nervous system, is also available in hardcover from Warner Books.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.